Hi guys, this is a short video about how to send MySQL alerts using AWS SES. A lot of acronyms in there. MySQL database, you probably know. AWS is Amazon's simple email service, and it's a competitor with MailChimp and with Mailgun, that type of service. Okay, we have a five-step process. First thing is user makes a request, which is then recorded on the web database. There's a polling process to monitor new requests. On a new request being received, an email is sent to the administrator, and then the administrator contacts the user, thereby closing the loop. Technologies involved include MySQL database. Then we're using bash scripts number 3 to monitor the receipt of new requests on the database. The email will be then sent to an administrator using Amazon Web Services, simple email services, and then that gives the opportunity for the administrator to make contact with the user. I'm going to focus in on MySQL cron/bash and AWS SES. I'm going to assume that you're familiar with MySQL and you have some knowledge of cron, tab and bash. So I will show all of these, but I will say a bit more about AWS SES. So as you can see, AWS is a cloud email service, very scalable. Some people ask me why not just use Gmail as your SMTP server. You can do that, but it's very limited, and if you've got your own company or whatever, you don't really want to think about that. AWS's SES is also quite cost effective. At time of making this video, it was 50,000 emails per day free. Okay, to configure, access and configure AWS SES, you sign into AWS and select services as you usually do. The documentation is quite good, and there are a number of things you have to do, which first of all, identity management, which is verify your domains, which basically means going back to the DNS records of your domains and making some entries. Then email addresses is straightforward. You then have to set up your SMTP settings, and that's a bit tricky, and I'm going to explain that soon. The end game for AWS SES for us is that we need a configuration file, and we're going to use that configuration file to send emails from the command line interface, i.e. CLI. After you've selected AWS SES, you go down and you can see there's a button for create my SMTP credentials, so we follow those instructions. Once you have your SMTP credentials, you need to go onto the Linux command line interface, the CLI, and follow the commands shown above. Basically what you're doing is you're using openssl base 64 to give an encrypted username and the same for a password. You're going to take those two values and add them to the AWS SES configuration file. Here's a sample configuration file. We provide more information on the links below. As you can see, you need to replace the text in red with your own information, and we're going to now show you how to use that file. So from the command line, you can see we need to do a number of things. One is to set up a variable called email CFG, and what we're assigning that variable are the contents of the YouTube configuration file you've just set up. And then once you've got that, basically you run this command, which is openssl client, etc., and you're using the email config variable within that. So I've just run that. You can see that everything seems to be okay, and if I look to the left here, yeah, and refresh that, you can see that I've got then I just sent an email into the inbox. Just to summarize, we've set up an SES account and SMTP credentials. We encrypted those, include them in an SES configuration file, and then use that file on the command line interface, the CLI, to send an email. In the next video, we're going to take it a stage further and show you how to write a bash script and monitor and send alerts to the admin using a cron job to detect whenever new comments or queries come in from web forms.